Hey guys, sorry for the delay on this one. I actually injured my thumb and threw out my voice a little bit. It was fully recorded beforehand, all the footage was anyway, but I've been kind of moving slowly regardless. So yeah, once again, sorry for the delay on this one. I meant to have this out last week, but it's coming out this week. At least I hope it's coming out this week. This week being the week after Halloween. Yeah, I've been kind of delaying this one. Anyway, anyone ever heard of an orange beast by the name of Crash Bandicoot? Yeah, him. Lara Croft and Spyro, as well as Crash, were super important back in the day. They all seemed like they were fighting for a part of being Sony's mascot, at least here in the USA. While I didn't hear much about Spyro, Crash and Lara were neck and neck. Still, I saw Crash a lot more for sure. Challenging Mario outside of Nintendo in a commercial, it seemed Crash was basically the next Sonic after the Saturn and Dreamcast crashed. Saturn and Dreamcast crashed. I didn't catch that writing, so I had to stop and laugh for a second. Sorry, guys. Anyway, he has attitude, was a platformer, and was easily the most popular character on the PlayStation 1. And I've never played his games. Ever. Oh, I was curious, of course, but I was a Nintendo fan, and unlike Sonic, I rarely got to play the PlayStation as a kid. And when I did, I never saw Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, somehow nobody that I knew who had a PlayStation also had Crash. It was weird. You'd think that would happen more, but no. And somehow they never had any of the other big PlayStation characters either, so no Spyro or Lara Croft. Yeah, somehow I missed out on the whole thing. But I have played original PlayStation games before, so there's that. Then suddenly, much like Sonic, Crash was on the GameCube with games the fans didn't really seem to like. And that was that. His popularity was hit hard when the rights of the character were sold off a few times to end up in Activision, a company known for producing crappy games for a quick dollar. However, lately Crash fever is building again. Not only did a remake of the first 3 original Crash games drop, but a 4th new game is suddenly dropping in 2020? It's actually already out now. Yeah. By the time this video comes out, it's already out. Sorry, guys. Weird, since it's technically not the 4th game, but still, it sounds like most people liked it outside of completing, the game itself. The completionist issues were there. So, with Crash back, there's no better time that I try out one of these remakes and spin around with the rest of these fans, am I right? Ha ha ha! Let's do it! Let's take on Dr. Neo Cortex! So the plot of Crash Bandicoot is pretty standard. Unlike Sonic where you're saving woodland creatures, Crash takes the Mario standard and Crash is just rescuing his girlfriend. In the original game there were tons of plot holes though. Yeah, isn't that some shit? Plot holes in a plot about a girlfriend rescue. Crash's girl, Tiana, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Tiana, I don't know. I'm horrible at pronouncing names, guys, so I apologize if I butcher any, but I'm just going to call her Tiana. Shows up at the end of a bunch of bonus rounds, normally just standing there. But here in the remake, at least Cortex recaptures her. Still, is she escaping every time you get a bonus game? That's weird, right? Also, Crash doesn't seem too concerned with her when he runs, out of the window at the start of the game. Yeah, Crash, escaped at the start of the game and just kind of left her to rot. He doesn't seem too concerned when she's grabbed by Cortex at the end of the bonus rounds either. At least she fights back in the starting opening, but dang, Crash just left her. What's also really weird about this is we have no idea what Cortex is actually trying to do here. He's trying to take over the world. I get that. I'm just not sure how turning a bunch of animals into anthropomorphic cartoon characters is doing that. I fought most of his minions. They aren't too bad. Look, I get that all of this is supposed to feel like a Saturday morning cartoon, but I do think the plot gets a little too generic if I'm honest. Yes, Crash is the hero. but he ends up escaping Cortex only to go back to rescue his girlfriend, which he probably could have done right there and then, honestly, and then stops Cortex from being evil. Yeah, I guess that's it. Game's lucky the character designs are nice. Actually, pretty much every character looks really good here. Stretchy like a cartoon, and the updated graphics really help a lot. The game looks amazing. It kind of reminds me of another game, Earthworm Jim. One day I'll review it. Still, you can sell a game on charm alone, and this game oozes it. Animation is great, music is fantastic, different death animations that people go crazy for. This game has it all. All the cute little tidbits that are added onto the game. The characters are zany and fun despite the lack of a real plot, and while the characters don't talk much, you get a sense of personality just by boss movements and animations. Seriously, Neo Cortex is a fun villain, even if I don't understand what he hopes to achieve here. The original game actually looked good on the PlayStation 1 too, if I recall correctly, with vivid animations there as well. Glad to see this all transferred over really well. Sometimes on a remake or a port, the good things like charm or gameplay don't transfer over as well as people would have liked. Glad to see with charm, that's not the case. As for the gameplay, things seem to be in suit here as well. Given I can't fully tell, because again I haven't played the first game originally yet, but the gameplay here is pretty solid. Crash mostly moves and jumps. Most enemies he can jump on to damage and defeat, and jumping seems pretty solid. No near misses or anything like that. Crash also has a neat Tasmanian devil-like spin move. Yeah, it's an attack that wastes most enemies too. Can't jump on it? Spin it to death. Not to go back to the charm, but I love the sound effects enemies make when you defeat them. The classic cartoon ricochet sound like Crash is shooting them out of a gun. Nice. There really isn't much to talk about on gameplay. There is a map screen. Cool. Everything works well. Nice. Crash is about the right amount of weight to his movements. It is super simple, not exactly breaking the mold, but it's fun to control Crash while going through levels. However, the levels themselves cause some issues. Nothing is exactly wrong with the levels per se, but there are some problems. For starters, the camera angle. Some of these levels in particular, the ones with the camera being behind and slightly above Crash, kind of messes with your depth perception. It just kills some of my momentum because I can't really see where I'm landing some of the time. It's not the biggest issue, but it happens enough to be noticed when, I think the platform is a lot closer than it actually is. There would be an easy fix for this if Crash had a more distinct drop shadow. He doesn't. In the original, it seemed like he may have had more of a shadow under him, but it's hard to tell. Perhaps it is just the cost of modern graphics. Regardless, making precise jumps on the 3D sections is a lot more difficult than it probably should be, and in some areas it's damn near impossible. I hate the high road. Both bridge levels in the game gave me crap, but the later one takes the cake of being the most annoying level in the game for me. Eventually I cheesed it and climbed onto the rope railing to get some, past some of this nonsense that they expect of you. Also, your hitbox has changed. Yeah, Crash needs to be directly over an enemy to jump on them successfully, which isn't normally an issue unless you have to jump on them like, these turtles in the bridge level. The worst part is, this still only happens on a few stages. Yeah, most of these stages don't have issues like this. It only slightly derailed me and killed me every now and again. Normally I'd hardly notice. Hell, the 2D stages, and yes, there are plenty of these, don't have these issues as persistently as the other ones, and the camera angle is just perfectly fine because it's a 2D section. Not to say the game is easy outside of these issues, mind you. The game gets challenging really quickly. Yeah, it's not really recommended to play this game first, actually. Rather, I probably should have started with the second game. Oops. I think Mega Man had a similar recommendation to that too, but what can I say? I'm stubborn. I did beat the game, but I missed out on quite a few of the secrets. But man, I shouldn't have trouble jumping on enemies. A very basic thing, mind you. Oh well. Speaking on the secrets, there's a few secret levels that I honestly didn't end up getting to. That's cool. I'll play them sometime if I get the chance. However, there are plenty of other secrets too. If you break every box in a level, you can get a box gem. Neat. If you get all the box gems, you can get a secret alternate ending. Sounds cool, right? No. Look it up on YouTube. This is the biggest pain in the ass in this game. There are certain levels that breaking the boxes without dying, something very easy to do, dying, not actually breaking all the boxes without dying, and these levels will give you a colored gem. Look, Crash doesn't have much health. He can get an Aku Aku mask to help tank a hit or two, but these are rare in this game. Die once, and you have to restart the entire level. The colored gems are semi-useful only for grabbing boxes in previous levels. They create platforms in other levels for you to find secrets and more or less more boxes. However, some of the colored gems are only found on some of the hardest levels of all time. This is a lot of work, a lot of tears for an ending that you can literally just go look up on YouTube. Also, time trials. Yeah, they weren't in the original game, but they added them for this one. They're okay, not really my thing. You can also play as Coco, Crash's sister in the remake version. She plays like Crash. I never saw her, but I know she's in here somewhere, I guess. Look, I knew this was going to be a rough time and a pretty rough review. Some people don't even recommend starting on this game. When it comes to the first few games of Crash, the first game is often considered to be the weaker entry, similar to Sonic as well. Crash Bandicoot, at least on the remake, suffers from generic writing, some simple drop shadow issues, and is a hassle to complete for such little reward. That being said, I still had fun. The game is charming as hell, most of the levels work pretty well, the gameplay is simple to use but tougher to master, and if you're a fan of the game, getting a box gem is pretty satisfying. Personally, I find the game is just okay. 6 out of 10 for me. I do recommend it, but there are issues to be warned about. Overall, I may go back to this one on some point. Like I said, I had fun, but the problems were just semi-overwhelming too. I don't know. In the meantime, there are other mad doctors with robots to take on, some princesses to rescue, and Pokemon to catch. Until next time, my minions, take care.